Hey everybody, Drew Dial, Remax Legends Group, coming to you with a Dialed In Show episode. So full transparency, in 19 and early 20, we were putting out these weekly videos on YouTube and Facebook, just with some tips and updates and interviews, and blame it on COVID, blame it on me being inconsistent. Haven't done one in a while, but one of the last ones we actually did was with this guy, Mike Partin with Parker Mortgage.
Oh yeah,
and it was funny, I went back through it last night to see, what the take was. We filmed it early February of 2020. And, you made some comments of, well, hopefully, they get some antibiotics in Asia and it doesn't get to here. Yep. And, we're booming and booming and booming. So
that was not a thing.
No, yeah, that didn't age well, right? So anyway, looking back at that, as everyone knows, the world has changed a ton over the last year. Real estate, fortunately for a lot of people in the business and for homeowners and sellers, it's kind of stayed stable, if not, stable, maybe not the right word for it, but there's been some positives on, the demand, the rates staying low and things like that. So I thought today, kind of reintroduce these type of videos, more conversational approach as far as, I don't have a list, it's blank. I don't have a list of questions to ask Mike, but just having a conversation. Mike and I talk pretty frequently, and we were talking last week about how, like I was saying, I wish I was recording that conversation we just had because this was really good. People need to hear that.
What we were talking about.
It was about, let's just do that. It was about, rates being so low now, even if you don't want to go through the stress of finding a new home and listing, like why not refinance? Your home's appreciated a ton.
Yeah.
How can you use that money?
So do you have any data? What's the average sale price in your market?
So it's gone up to like 206 for my board. Yeah.
And then, so 206, the average home in central Indiana, that's Marion County and the contiguous counties. Mm-hmm. The stat I read was 11.9%.
Yep.
So 206 times 11.9 is some other number bigger than 206. But you gotta figure that's $20,000 anyway that your house appreciated with you doing nothing other than making your normal payment. So whatever you made this year, throw another 20 grand on it, that's how much wealth you built. Right. So renters out there, that's how much wealth you lost out on. And so there's a giant kick in the pants for people to get off the bench and get in the game and buy a house. If you're thinking about, oh man, I might move in 3 years. Who cares? That's $60,000 that you potentially are losing out on. And the market is just on fire. When you look at, fun fact, when we look back at 2008, the housing bubble, the bubble that everybody talked about and was front page of absolutely everything for years. Indiana was, when I looked it up, the second least affected.
Right, yeah.
By the housing bubble. Alaska was worse than us, and then Indiana. And so we only had appreciation somewhere around 4.5%. There are neighborhoods in Fishers, Carmel, Zionsville, Noblesville that are up 20-25% this year. Right. So we're 5 times worse than the bubble was. So that scares the heck out of me because every day it's making those renters that much farther away from being able to own. Mm-hmm. Now, couple that with the fact that interest rates are stupid low right now. Like they're still insanely low. As soon as rates start to tick up, it's only going to magnify that effect because house prices aren't going to fall 60 grand. No. But interest rates are going to tick up. These renters are going to be triple screwed. So I don't know. Renters, culture,
now's the time.
Get on it. You're silly.
We were on a Remax web call yesterday, and they had all the stats of, what are the smart people in the industry projecting, nationwide, what is appreciation going to do, and on the top end of that scale was like 7.8% to 8%, and even Freddie and Fannie were still projecting 3.9 to 4%.
Right.
So you talk about opportunity cost of waiting another year, and you've got somewhere.
Let me pick your brain on that because I don't know the answer to this. I can tell you my thoughts on it, but what do you attribute 11.9% or 20% or whatever? What are you seeing from the realtor's shoes that's making those prices shoot through the roof?
It almost sounds too simple, but remember senior year of high school econ or college econ 101?
Right. Yep.
Draw the graph, supply and demand. You mentioned rates are crazy. Indianapolis, you've probably seen it too, nationwide, our rent is actually going up. Where like San Francisco and some of those big cities, they're finally, getting some ease on monthly rent. There's such a demand to live in Indianapolis. People are flooding in here that
what do you try that to?
Low cost of living. I mean,
so it's eventually got to get to equilibrium, right? Like something's got to happen there. Yeah. But I can tell you just anecdotally, I feel like we have had probably 5 times the out-of-state investors this past year.
Oh yeah.
That I've had cumulatively in my career put together. So over 20-something years, I've had 8 or 10, and it seems like we're getting 5 a month right now.
Yeah.
So we've got entire investing groups out of Seattle and Portland and Austin and New York City that are calling us that are looking to heavily invest.
Right.
And they're not looking at Anderson, they're not looking at Elwood, and they're not looking at Greenwood.
Right.
They're looking Hamilton County because it's on fire, and looking a lot of the north side of Indianapolis, the east side of Indianapolis,
so
and then Plainfield, Canby.
So you think about that investment group, or maybe it's just husband, wife, I want to get into investing. We had some friends that were living in Los Angeles, and through family and friends, they were wanting to invest in properties. In Los Angeles, you've got $1 million to invest just for math. Mm-hmm. You can buy one to cash flow and hope it appreciates.
One double wide.
Right. Or you can move to Indy, buy 8 3-bedroom, 2-bath ranches for $110 a pop with a proven appreciation record here and cash flow those for years. Yeah. Why wouldn't you make that pocket of starter money work here, where the taxes are going to be less, where there's just a large demand?
Absolutely. But for those of you that are watching that maybe aren't knee deep in this with me every day, like let me take a quick second and explain some of the supply and demand, the macroeconomic stuff that's going on. Indiana, for whatever reason, has always had crazy, wonderfully beautiful, we love it, cost of living. It's so cheap to live here. But then what started to happen was that purchase prices really stagnated. And back in 2008, purchase prices were 4%, and that's all the appreciation houses around here were getting. We were just kind of the freight train and just chugging along, and nothing terribly exciting. The rest of the nation's going crazy and they're doing their thing. Bubble pops. Indiana looked around and we were like, well, that really didn't affect us terribly much. There are a lot of foreclosures, but values fundamentally didn't really fall. So, but then as we start moving forward, everybody else started to appreciate again. Indiana still looks beautiful. So internationally, like we've had, there are Facebook pages for Indianapolis investors abroad, and there are people in Japan that are buying blocks of houses here. One of the largest hedge funds in America is America's Homes for Rent. Yeah, right. So anyway. So back in like 08, 010, those guys were just buying freaking everything, and so their play was they were buying the houses while they were somewhat depressed, and they were just going to hang out on them, but then flip them when the market came back. But the thing is, in Indiana, the market doesn't really do anything silly. Right. And so they decided to just hold on to them. And like, I don't know if you have any stats. The thing that I heard from AFR was America's Homes for Rent, not AFR. They bought something like 2,800 houses in Indianapolis. I mean, that might not sound like a ton to some people, but 2,500 houses is a lot of houses. And so their model became collect rents. Right. And so because they're collecting rents, they started driving 2,500 comps, they started driving the prices of rents up along with everybody else that was doing that. And so all of this institutional money started to almost irrationally start to inflate rents. Gotcha. But purchase prices weren't moving. Rents kept getting better and better and better. So then what happens? Now, everybody around the world that was already looking at this thinking, hey, that was kind of a cool place to look. Holy crap, look at this. Rents are going through the roof and the prices are staying flat. So now everybody's flooding in. And we're selling tons and tons and tons to investors and flippers and everything else. And all it's doing is equity stripping. And they are pulling the market values up. And it will hit some equilibrium where houses will get to be not a great value in central Indiana. And it will eventually level out with all the rest of the U.S. Right. And we'll be competitive again. And that will restore some of the balance in our market. But really fundamentally what Drew was saying with supply and demand, we're in a situation right now where we have not just a lack of new home supply and millennials hitting the market and all of this other stuff, we have an irrational demand vacuuming off houses that theoretically should be going to Sally, first-time home buyer, but she can't because it's already been picked up by some guy in Seattle that just bought 39 houses.
Right.
And so I don't know. But bottom line is when those houses come on the market, you don't have competition with your 5 neighbors. You have competition with 15 groups of investors that are willing to throw massive amounts of cash and international and all of this stuff. And there's nowhere for prices to go but up. Right. Anyway, that was a really long.
That was good. This is what I was saying. We need to just record these conversations that we have all the time. So let's just talk about that. I mean, the opportunity cost of waiting.
Gross.
What have you seen? As we've started, we're almost a month through 2021 now. Rates have continued to stay low. Everyone projects that to happen.
They're starting to tick up, but they're not really they're not rocketing.
Yeah, and tick up relatively. Yeah, where are we gonna? Yeah.
So maybe 4 weeks ago, we had the 4th lowest interest rate day in history. Right? Yeah. And so, are we at the absolute bottom of the market ever? No, that was 4 weeks ago. But I mean, come on, seriously, it's moved this much. So, for example, today we just did a streamline FHA refi, and so it was about 95% loan to value, and I think that we locked that borrower at 2.25 on a 30-year fixed. Now it's FHA. FHA has a little bit lower rates, but conventional, you're still somewhere in the ballpark of 3. Come on, that's fantastic. Historic average is around 7.
Yep.
We've been playing in this 4-ish% pond for the last 7-8 years now.
When have you seen a 5%, which was crazy, stupid, awesome for my first house? We got 5. Yeah, right. Yeah.
Mine was 6.375, and that was 2001. Yeah. And so that was a perfectly fine rate at the time. Did not prevent me from buying whatsoever. Right. So I don't think the interest rates climbing are going to prevent people from buying. No. What it is going to do is put an ever bigger crunch on the people that are currently renters that are wanting to get into purchasing a house, because if your interest rate ticks up by a full percent, then that has a sizable impact on your monthly payment, which in turn is your spending power. Yep. So now Drew's not showing you a $200,000 house; he's showing you a $179,000 house,
and couple that too. You wait a year, so that $200,000 with a higher rate is now at $180,000. And then we're waiting another year. We just talked about, Marion County was 10% increase last year. So now we got, what could have been a 220 house if you did it today with this rate. Yeah. Now you're looking at what used to be a 140 house or a 160 house is now 180. Yeah. It's a lot of numbers. Yeah. I can draw pictures if anybody wants to follow up on that.
We need a graph.
Yes, next time we'll have a graph up here. But, this really wasn't even where I intended our conversation to go today. But renters... I mean, man, holy crap!
Yeah, for serious, it's crazy.
So who do you know who's renting? Who is renting? And
even if you're not ready to go buy, you got to at least cognitively acknowledge that house is 10% more expensive every year that you wait. But then the bigger thing for me, renters, is you missed the part where I just said that people from all over the world are buying houses here because you're paying too much in rent. This is the silliest place in America.
And he's not kidding. So most of you know, I also manage this office, and we have nearly 70 agents. We've got one agent who's working with the West Coast investors, but also a group from Israel. Yep. The guy upstairs has an Israel client right now. Yeah. We have a Japanese company that's working with another agent. So
we have a client that is from Israel, and they buy houses approximately 100 at a time.
Yeah,
so they're buying all over the U.S.
You'll see those on listings, I live in Lawrence, as most of you guys know. Unless you're on the lake or a former Colts player, Indy driver, most houses are the 250 range, to right around there. Every once in a while, I'll see a little 3-bed, 2-bath ranch right down the street, and it's listed for $1.4 million. I'm like, what the heck? But then you look, and it's someone is selling 36 homes at once, right? And they're going to get this big cash offer, and it's happening. So,
what about the person that wants to be that investor? Anybody who's paying attention that wants to take advantage of all the renters that are still sitting on the bench?
Yeah. So, even more so have a plan in place. Like, you know, either you're setting on a ton of money, which congratulations, or how can you, you know, create a portfolio for yourself using financing options, finding a partner. I mean, there's a million opportunities there, but you've just got to be strategic, because it's not just the 1 million people that live in our metro that are looking for these opportunities. It's hundreds of millions throughout the country and the world. So, you know, I didn't really do a great job of introducing to our audience of, you know, who you are, what you do, but Mike's been in the business.
We should I can edit that in.
Yeah.
So.
No edits. That's my new rule with this.
No edits.
This round of videos, there's 0 edits. Cussing, blurbs, all that stuff.
All right.
It's in.
Perfect.
So yeah, Mike is Finance of America with the Parker Mortgage team up in Noblesville. Awesome people, great culture, type of people you just want to be around and shoot conversational videos. I know you had a background in finance before that, but you want to catch us up?
So I've been doing mortgages for, this is my, what year is it? This is my 20th year.
Awesome.
So yeah, this September will be 20. And so I also used to be a licensed financial advisor. So had my 6 and 63, all those investment license things. So, but I've been running the Parker Mortgage team for the last 10 years here on the square in downtown Noblesville. So right there on Logan Street, come see us. We have an office dog that is actually where we get our name. So Parker was my old English sheepdog. We named the company after her. And yeah, so we just love it. But Finance of America is kind of our bank that we partner with. And these guys are fantastic. They bring a lot of really, really fun products to the market that are proprietary. Yeah. And so that's why when we talk about this rental stuff, this is one of the pieces that I love, because we've got a product that nobody else has, where essentially, if I were to give it to you a 30,000 foot overview, you can buy unlimited rental properties with one pool of money. So if Drew wants to be an investor, but he's only got $30,000 one time, so you can buy the house, I give you 30,000 back, we can go buy another house, wash, rinse, repeat. And so through a series of really fun ways that we structure these. Yeah,
and they're, you know, it's not a take advantage of an investor who doesn't have the capital to start type program, which is makes it awesome. It's an actual way of, you know, almost conservatively risking to get into this business that, you know, a ton of people want to get in. Like, but how do I even start that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's a very good question. How do you start? So one of the biggest problems with becoming an investor is a finite amount of capital. So you got to figure out how do you, a lot of people are trying to do the BRRRR method. Well, if you're familiar, it's you buy it, you renovate it, you rent it out, and then you refinance it and pull your equity. Problem is, you've got to have enough money to buy it. You have to have enough money to renovate it. It's going to take 6-9 months. In today's market, contractors are at a premium. So even getting the work done is tough. So a lot of the BRRRR guys, they're doing great to execute 1-2 properties per year with their pile of money. Now, if you have multiple piles of money, you can do multiple at the same time, but that's where we come in, help you make multiple piles of money. So with our method, it's different than the BRRRR. So we can actually help people buy a house instead of 20%, and then you need to go put 30 grand in it to fix it up. So instead of you being out of pocket $50,000, we can structure it so you only put 15% down, and then I will partner with you, and we will pay for all of the renovations inside the loan. And you know, when I say partner with you, what we're doing there is we're going to use the future equity that you're going to be able to evidence that you're creating. Because obviously, if you put 30 grand into a house, it's not going to be worth just 30 grand more. So long as you make like a 10% kick, that's what we're asking for. So you put 10% of your cash, and then the project puts another 15% behind it. So that when the smoke clears and we're all finished, we've got 25% equity. Then we can refinance it. I can give you your capital back, and we can put it into a long-term portfolio type loan for you. So anyway, but you can do that loan 7 times at the same time. You can do that over and over and over with your same pile of capital. So we have some clients that are just killing it with us right now. So we've done some stuff with Bigger Pockets, and I think we're on there, and Syria, if you guys are familiar with Syria. So we work with them quite a bit. And so, yeah, I just think it's a cool time, because when the market retraction that happened back in March last year, everybody just got out of the game. Well, Finance of America, the thing that I love about this company is they're massive.
Yeah.
And so they're owned by Blackstone. So Blackstone is the largest private equity firm in the world. So when the market retreats, Blackstone doesn't say, like everybody else does. Blackstone says, sweet, everything's on sale.
Where can we find an opportunity, right?
Yeah. So they really used that opportunity to make some new inroads and create some new products, and it's positioned us really well. So I'm super pumped.
And that kind of goes back to, and we can make this our closing point, but whether you're the renter who's looking to just stop paying rent and becoming a homeowner, and something spoke to you today about, man, this is time to do it, or an investor, or man, I just like to pull out some money to finally put that pool in the backyard with refinance money, which by the way, pools. Yeah. Like if you tried to get a pool installed now, you are getting scheduled until like 2022 late summer. They're that far behind.
Wow.
But I think a lot of people that haven't gone through it, or maybe have gone through financing a home before, think like, okay, my credit is this, my debt to income is this. I have 4 options. I can, if I'm a veteran, I can go VA. If I don't want to put 20% down, I have to go FHA, and that's 3.5, or I have to put 20% down with a conventional. That's not, those buckets aren't accurate. Even within each bucket, there's a multitude of different ways that they can structure, even a conventional loan, correct me if I'm wrong. There's products where, you can do, a 10% down, a 5% down. I know at one point there was even a 3% conventional.
Still is.
Yeah, and you have a reputation here in our office. I think we've told you, kind of like the most interesting man in the mortgage world. But this dude's got so many.
Just because I give you guys bourbon.
Yeah, bourbon. Yeah, so he didn't. He mentioned the dog at the office. He also probably has Indiana's largest bourbon collection.
No, not by far, but it's big. So,
biggest I've ever seen.
We've got about 620 bottles at the office, and we just released our
got
first.
Like 3, and it's like Jack, Jim, and Heaven.
That's all Woodford in your office. That's good stuff. So
birthday party finds,
perfect. Yeah. But we just released our first private label. So we have Noble's Old Bourbon Club. And
I tried it on Saturday at the Malot's house.
Nice.
It was delicious.
Yeah, excellent. Okay, good.
But yeah, so don't think you're pigeonholed into I've got a 600 credit score, or I'll make like 50 grand. Like
there are
you
so
guys
many
can play
people
around with things to make it work for them.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
So structuring a loan is so much more detailed than people give it credit for, because there are literally infinite variables. So how much money do you put down? That's a variable. And then how much of that money do you put down towards your rate? Do you want to pay points? Do you want to not pay points? How do you want to structure it? Do you want to do an MI? Do you want to do a split premium MI? Do you want to do an LPMI where we pay the mortgage insurance? There's there's not exaggerating 50 variables on every loan. Right. And so the answer is not, I want the best rate, because the best rate is put 100% down, pay 0. So that's stupid. So what you want is the best balance. So you want the best interest rate for the best monthly payment, for the best cash out of pocket for your situation, to make sure you're meeting the goal on your horizon. Yeah. So if somebody contacts me and says, I'm going to be in this house for 3 years, I'm here on assignment from Lily, and I will be gone, my opinion is completely different than somebody that says, I'm going to be in this house for the next 17 years. Or one of my favorites is, I'm going to be in this house till my kid graduates high school. Well, how old's your kid? He's 5. Cool, we've got 13-year horizon. How does the house play into funding college? Is that a thing? Right, yeah. Have you even given that any thought yet? And so by structuring your house as a piece of a portfolio and a piece of your investment, and not just an idiot in a cubicle stamping with the best interest rate. Right, yeah. We see it all day long where somebody will be paying 3, 4, 5 points to get their interest rate where they need to go. And it's like, why are you doing that? You're going to be here for 3 years. You're never going to recover that. Right, yeah, because that's over 30 years. Yeah. But here's something to think about for the refinance people that if somebody's still listening to me babble, I just keep talking. But it's that one person. It's all one person that's left. Yep. So if you are currently thinking about refinancing, or you want to go put the pool in, here's something to think about. Is right now might be a wonderful time to pay points. As silly as that sounds, we're at the all-time lowest interest rates. You can literally buy your 30-year fixed down into the ones. Like, that's nuts. And so you could get there by using money that's not even yours, that you didn't actually have to spend. What the heck am I talking about? Your house just appreciated $20,000 this year.
Mm-hmm.
That's free money that you earned passively by doing nothing.
Right.
What if we took 1/4 of what your house made you this year and let your house fund your own house's lower interest rate to drive your payment down? Theoretically, if you did this right on paper, like, you could literally have a free pool. So, like, cash flow monthly
Right,
payment.
yeah.
Like, you know, if your payment's $1,800 right now, doing all of this maneuver might save you enough to completely offset what that pool would cost. So a lot of people are not thinking in terms like that, and long term, and how does this portfolio work? They just, you know, we're trained by the media and by stupid freaking Zillow to, hey, what's the cheapest thing that there is? The cheapest is the best. No, it's not.
No.
So,
yeah, exactly. You know.
So the best for you is the best.
Yeah,
and
I don't know if that's like your finance planning background, but like, you know, when we send a client to you guys, it's not, we're jumping right in. You're going to listen first. What's your goals?
Yeah.
What's your horizon? You know, as you mentioned.
Well, we don't publish our rates. A lot of realtors ask us, hey, send me a rate sheet. Like, I could, but there's 55 variables. Are you comfortable with running 55 variables for every single client? I mean, like, I can give you some ballparks of what's going on in the marketplace if you're looking for a barometer, but it's really tough for us to just, hey, our rates are 2.6 today.
Yep.
You know, like a lot of banks do. They just, this is the thing. This is our box. You fit in it or you don't. Get in or get out.
Right.
And it's either appropriate for you or it's not. In our world, it's infinite changes, tweaks, and making sure that things work to satisfy your monthly budget and your initial capital budget. So, yeah, I don't know.
Awesome.
Hopefully that's helpful. But
That was awesome.
babble.
Can we do this again?
Heck yeah.
Can we do like
Weekly.
Oh, he said it. I was gonna say monthly. But yeah, this is great. Yeah, so thank you to that one person out there that's still watching.
Thanks for sticking with me, Mom.
Yeah. I figured it was on me. My mom.
Your mom.
My mom has a top fan badge on my Facebook page.
Perfect.
Really good. But yeah, we're gonna do this again. If you guys would like to see any other type of stuff, I'm committed to putting these videos out every week, whether Mike wants to join me or not. That's fine. But just want to get back into this. There's a lot of things going on out there, and like Mike said, if we're just watching the news or reacting to all the experts on Facebook,
Gross.
it can get scary. And I'm not saying, you know, someone's right, someone's wrong, but, you know, we're in this stuff every day. We can just share what we are seeing in real life scenarios, and you guys can, you know, gain something from that. That's my intention with doing this, and to have fun and no scripts and
I love it.
all that stuff.
So yeah, if anything that we talked about today piques your interest, like, give Drew a call.
Yep.
Because we are real people, and we are happy to help.
So I would say, like, after this video, click on Mike's link, and I don't know.
But
how
there's
that
no
works.
editing.
Yeah, so I don't know how that works. So you guys know how to find me. Thank you. Thanks, Mike.
Yep. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.